Hi everyone, it's Natalie here, and today I'm going to be talking about how to deal with people who think they know everything about nutrition when you're the expert, right? Maybe you've come across people before and you know that they have a problem and that they need to fix it with their nutrition, and yet they keep telling you that some sort of fad diet is going to help them or some other random thing that you know is not what they actually need to get to where they want to go. But the problem is that sometimes they don't understand you and they don't believe you and they don't see you as the expert. So this is a real issue. Well, today I'm going to show you how to fix that problem and how that you can actually turn these people into your customer with time. But it does take a process. I want you to stick around to the end of this video. This is something I was actually sharing with my clients the other night on our group calls with them. So it's something I've never shared before. And I know it's really going to help you to get more clients. Before we get into this video today, I am excited to announce that the free one-to-one consult with me about the Grow Your Impact program is now open. So if you're looking to get more information about that and really fast track your online nutrition coaching business, then be sure to stick around to the end for the full announcement on that and how you can receive that free one-to-one consult. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here's the thing. I hear the same problem from so many people, especially if you're in the intuitive eating or haze space, or even if you're just in, it's like there's a fad diet out there for everything, and you know fad diets don't solve problems and they don't make sustainable life change, but people just don't seem to believe you, right? And you know that eating like a granola bar for breakfast isn't ideal when the person is trying to have optimal performance in sports, but they don't realize they have a problem. So the first thing you need to understand is that you don't want to approach all clients the same way. I mean, potential clients, right? Because people are on a different space. There's some people that are really like, oh, this is my problem. I need help with it. Can you help me solve it? And those people are like ready to go. They want to be your clients. They sign up. They're already, like, here's my payment. I'm ready to go, right? And that's great. But not everybody's like that at all. And so you need to realize that you can't approach people the same way. And you need to realize that this happens on kind of a continuum, right? And kind of like a gray scale. Meaning, we have cold, we have warm, and we have hot, right? And we call these leads, in marketing, okay? And someone that is saying, I'm super into fad dieting, or don't think that I need any help, is cold. And so you can't approach them like they're over here hot, ready to buy, because all that's going to happen is they will push you away and they will say they don't need your help at all, right? Okay? So I want you to think about this kind of cold, warm to hot scenario that happens in marketing and selling when you're approaching potential clients as kind of like cooking a Thanksgiving turkey, okay? So if you're from the US, this will make a lot of sense. If you're not from the US, just think about cooking a turkey, okay? If you know anything about cooking a turkey, that thing takes a hell of a lot of time, all right? And so even if you're like, oh man, I buttered up the turkey and that took a ton of time because I had to make the butter, right? Put all my herbs in it and I spread it all over the turkey. Does that mean that turkey's ready to serve? Hell no. Does that mean that client is ready to buy? Hell no. So anytime you push against them, they are going to walk or run away, right? You haven't even stuck the turkey in the oven to bake for 46 hours. Right? You haven't done that. So this is the thing, is that you have to realize all of these people are on this cold side. They are just that raw turkey. Okay? You can't serve this for Thanksgiving. Don't even try it. Okay? So what you need to realize is you have to actually warm them up. You have to do something at this stage to make them warm, and then again something at this stage to make them hot. So today I'm going to show you in this video the exact process that I recommend to actually do that, because these people are potential clients for you. Don't just ignore them or get frustrated with them because they don't understand your perspective. It's up to you to change their psychology here. So don't get defensive and instead look at this as they are cold and I just need to know how to do marketing properly so that people eventually understand my perspective. All right, so that's what we're going to go into next. So the number one thing to do is not to start disagreeing with them, because I know that probably your immediate reaction when someone says, oh, this celery juice will fix all my problems, and you don't agree with them, you're like, hey, no, that's not the case. That actually doesn't work. And you start disagreeing with them. And then you might start saying something like, I'm an expert, and then you start stating your credentials, right? And you're like, I studied at blah, 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 and so I know. No, do not do this. My goodness, okay? All that happens is you just, like, imagine a turtle, okay? Imagine a turtle. I don't know if I can draw a turtle, everybody. Let's see here. Let's say that's a turtle, okay? Imagine a turtle. You just poked them, and then this is what they did. They went in their shell. So never, ever, ever just right off the bat start disagreeing with them, telling them that what they're saying isn't true, and then just start bombarding them with all this information about why they're saying what is true is wrong. Forget it. Okay? If you do something like this, it's kind of like the American news. Okay, I want you to think of this. Whether you're Republican, Democratic, Independent, whatever the hell you are, when you watch the news of a differing perspective, it sounds crazy, right? You're like, what the hell? This is not true. This is not real. Like, this is fake news, or what, whatever you want to say about it, and you just start kind of getting defensive and you clam up and this doesn't work. This does not allow you to reach a common goal, to reach an agreement, because it's just bam, 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 and you disagree with them. So at a fundamental level, by doing that, the person will never agree with your perspective, and in fact, they'll just push you away and want to get away from you. So this is not what to do, okay? Don't be, if your customer has a different opinion, don't do this. Instead, what you want to do is agree at all costs. Okay, even if you disagree, agree. And you're like, well, what if I really don't believe in this? That's okay. A way to state this is, oh yeah, I can totally understand why you would think that, or instead of that, even, oh yeah, I know that's been definitely very popular, and some people are saying that they've had a lot of success with it. Agree with them, okay? Say that first. Now, once you've done this, you can start the second step. But you need to agree with people because it lets their guard down. It makes them feel safe. It makes them feel like they can share their perspective and you aren't judging them. And that you're trying to support them, which is where we want that person to be. Because I know that you're not trying to attack them, right? But they're going to think you are unless you agree with them and you kind of send out this nice, warm, agreeable energy to them. So that's the first step. Now, let's talk about the next step. Next, what you want to do is use the Socratic method to do something that I like to talk about is like take the roof off of the house. So what's the Socratic method? If you've ever heard of the Greek philosopher Socrates, this is his method technically for getting into a debate. Like if you're going to have some sort of debate against someone that disagrees with you. Now, I'm not saying you should turn this into debate team, right? Or something like that. And you're like, I don't want to argue with people or something like that. That's not what I'm saying to do. Instead, what we want to do is actively question them. That's what the Socratic method is. And when we do that, then we can take the roof off of the house, right? So right now, trying to get my orange pen back. Right now, we look at this house, right? There's the house. It's closed, and you can't kind of penetrate it at all. So, what you do by asking questions, you're like, hey, my drawing. You're like, hey, let's say that, have you had any experience with that? You want to ask them questions to essentially expose the fact that they're like, oh, so there's other possibilities outside of this. And the whole point to this kind of thing is that instead of attacking them, we're now exploring the way they think. Meaning, one, if they start to see, based on you asking questions about their beliefs, if they start to see, oh, hey, this other perspective may make sense, or my perspective is, maybe it's got a couple holes here that I didn't realize, right? Like maybe this fad diet might eventually just cause me to gain more weight long term, but you do this through questioning, right? So then it makes you realize that they're open to new possibilities. And guess what? You're not forcing it upon them. You're helping them discover it for themselves, which means they're going to be much more open to this type of idea. Or two, by asking them questions, you realize that you have a fundamental core difference that won't be changed. So then, let's say if they think that nobody could ever, using the same example, could ever buy intuitive eating, that's a good thing, or, you drill down to the core and they feel like what you're saying is absolutely 100% true. And you get to the core actual problem there, right? And you realize, oh, there's no way for us to come to an agreement. They will never be your customer. And that's okay, because not everyone is going to. All right, but a lot of those people would be an excellent fit for what you have to offer. But they have to first realize it themselves, because you can't just push someone to believe something you believe. It just won't work out very well, right? So this is the second step. Then the third step. So let's say that you get someone to this number one thing, and it seems like they're starting to get a little open, right, to what you have to say, okay? Then, here's what you do as the third step, to then move them to that warm stage, to then even push them to that hot stage, okay? And this is the third thing you should do. So after you've asked them some questions and you've kind of explored how they think and if they'd be open to a different perspective, right? And if they're starting to see that there's a couple of holes, right? And maybe you talk about a couple of your client experiences where you're like, oh, so-and-so used to think this too. Right? And you provide that empathy, right? And then they start to think, oh, there's other people that experience this too. And then they ended up over here and this works the best for them. That gets their gears turning, right? So then this is what you do. You don't start immediately then, so purchase my program, or so let's set up an appointment. No, they're still cooking in the oven, all right? And we don't want to serve raw turkey, okay? So what you need to do is you need to support them, show that you are a source of support, and you want to provide value. You want to position yourself. This is what this does. This positions you as authority, right? As the authority on the topic. And that means if you have videos on the topic, if you have a webinar on the topic, if you have some form of content, right, that helps them just keep, kind of going down this little trail. And you want to keep them in that provide value range for a while, right? For a little bit of time until you start to get some sort of hints that they want to know more, right? Or even push them towards even speaking to them more and kind of getting a good idea of where they are, right? Because when we can actively measure where they are, then all that's left to do is guide them to where they want to be, which is to solve the problem. But we can't do that before they're ready to walk down that path, right? And our goal is not to push them, be that pushy salesperson, but instead it's to act as a guide for how their psychology is working in the moment, okay? So, with this said, don't get defensive. Top takeaway here, right? Don't get defensive, okay? Actually, appreciate that they do see that they have a problem and they're trying to fix it, which means that they do want help. So don't get offended. Go through this 3-step process, and I guarantee you're going to see a heck of a difference when you then approach them and they're further down that cold, warm, hot scale. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. I hope it was helpful to all of you all. And if it was, be sure to like this video, comment below, share it with a friend, and even subscribe and hit that notification bell to get the next video. I put one out every single Friday, so you can expect another one next week. Also, the free one-to-one consult. This is for people who are ready to stop feeling like they have to throw spaghetti at the wall all the time and figure out how they should put into place these concepts, and instead want a full-on roadmap and want to start taking active steps towards really pursuing their goal and actually really scaling their business and getting to 6 figures a year or even more, right? So if that's you and you fit that description, be sure to go below in the description of this video, and I've left a link where you can schedule that free one-to-one consult with me. All right, thank you all.